So, yeah. I know I'm eating again, but where am I? And I'm not in a café, so where am I? Very tasty. Jam and clotted cream scones. It really is warm, really is today. Are there enough clues? Yeah, I'm back down the Windmill Community Gardens. Let's go and find Tracy.
Everything's needing watered because it's just been dry for weeks and weeks, and when it has rained there's been hardly anything in it, so we really have to be a little bit careful.
It's really clean down here.
You reckon?
I know it's always this clean, but you know, there's not a lot of sort of plants and things knocking about.
Interesting.
It's quite sparse.
Well, that's really because it was so cold before, and I suppose if you do it too early, we know that you get frosts and then you lose things.
Yeah.
But we've got things in the ground. I mean, we've got purple sprouting broccoli, we've got broad beans, we've got garlic and onions and chard and kale. But you know, we've just put in peas to go in the ground soon, because if we put them straight in they often get eaten by things too quickly. We've got carrots in, we've got various herbs and things, you know, lots of cuttings. So we've taken cuttings of all the fruit bushes, they're in, roses, we've got cuttings of various flowers, you know, we're doing loads.
How long will it be before you get your first crop of what you're putting in now then? What's the fastest thing to grow?
Potatoes as well.
Potatoes.
So
okay.
Potatoes will be pretty quick for the new potatoes. Obviously lettuce and leaves generally are very quick to come up, and radishes.
Yeah.
So we'll have all of that, and I mean we've already got parsley and mint and various herbs growing ready, because we had our first food on Thursday and we had a minestrone with all of the lovely leaves that we've got, and it was just absolutely beautiful, really nice. Yeah.
Very nice weather, hey Tracy.
It is lovely. If it would just rain at night and then be like this in the day, we'd be laughing.
So what we got here, Tracy?
This is Jerusalem artichokes, so I'll just show you what it looks like. Looks a bit like something from a...
bit like ginger.
Possibly a bit like ginger, but rather bigger.
Yeah.
So Jerusalem artichokes are actually in the same family as sunflowers, but they are a perennial thing. So every year they'll make more lobes.
Yeah.
So if you plant them and then dig them up, you're going to get something the next year which hopefully is quite easy to peel. These were left maybe a year or two more than they should have been at another place, but they'll still make nice things. And when they come up, they make a flower quite often, a yellow flower at the top, and it'll make maybe 4 or 5 feet of growth, sometimes a bit more.
Okay.
And they make a good windbreak, apparently. And the joke is that when you eat them, they make you fart so much that they store the wind and give it back to you. But I mean, they're a lovely thing, and it's just interesting that they're in the sunflower family, but yet ordinary sunflowers don't do this. So this is a
And how would you prepare them or cook them?
Well, what I like to do is I boil them until the skin comes a bit loose, and then I cool them, and that makes them go a bit more solid, and then I peel them. Some people just wash them until most of the soil's off and then peel them, but that way you lose more maybe. The only thing is now you see it's sprouting and it's not so good to eat at this point, you see. Yeah. So in the winter it doesn't do that, and this is we've got lots of these if anybody wants some. So
can you eat them raw on like a salad, or have you got to, is it preferential
you
to
possibly
cook them
could,
like
but the issue is that the thing that makes you have the wind is called inulin, and if you don't do something to reduce that, you're possibly going to be in intestinal distress. But if you've heated them and cooled them and or boiled them, some people like deep frying them or putting them in an air fryer in thin slices. I mean, it's so delicious. You can make a soup with this, with onions, garlic, and
just on their own when deep fry, or would you put them in a batter, or
no, just deep fry them as they are.
Chip.
But thinly sliced, like a crisp almost.
Okay.
But as I say, you make a soup out of this with just onions, garlic, and a bit of stock, and people go, "Wow, what was that amazing thing?" But if you tell them what it was, they get a bit nervous.
And how would you describe their taste if you fry them? Because I'm going to try some of these. I
mean, they're absolutely lovely. I would say it's a real kind of umami kind of taste, but it's got a bit of sweetness in there, and it's hard to say. It tastes like Jerusalem artichokes. It makes it makes a really creamy soup if you blend it.
Okay.
And as I say, I just think they're lovely. I should say I probably am not too badly off if you've got plenty of roughage in your diet. Yeah. And so your intestinal biota is good. And if you're working with healthy soil, it should be.
Big words for a Monday.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So you're
I'm learning all the time.
All the bacteria that live inside you. People are a bit impoverished if they're not working with healthy soil, but if you're working with healthy soil, you just breathe them in and they come into your system anyway. Right. And if you have things like kefir and kombucha and that kind of thing, that helps as well. So if you're doing that already, these are not going to shock your system. The inulin is food for those things. But as long as you're eating enough of the right things, then it won't be quite a, oh my goodness, what's this? Here we go. Yeah. But if you aren't, then maybe this will be a bit of a surprise.
So how to influence friends and
make friends and influence people.
And influence people. Go for the Jerusalem artichoke.
If you've got friends who are rugby players, they'd probably be quite excited by this. not to stereotype anybody, but I've seen what happens in the after parties.
Yeah.
If we put these here, then people won't forget to water them, hopefully, and they'll start sprouting almost. They're already going really. We often do have a dry period now, but this is after last year. Feels a bit abnormal. Because obviously last year was just ridiculously wet. Just trying to find out how deep these go. So it'd be nice if they were a little bit further down. That'll do. That's it. No, he's done a nice job.
So did you grow these from seeds?
No, you get them as a root.
Like a bulb type
you can grow them from seed, but we got them as a root.
Root?
Yeah, they actually came in a posh veg box order from France. And the ones that you sometimes get are a bit smaller than these on average, but I don't know if that's the climate or if it's just that the variety is different. But these ones grow a really nice, evenly shaped thing rather than something too knobbly. Sometimes you get really little knobbly ones that aren't very easy to peel. you know, I don't know if that's really what they wanted. I was going to say, this, can we find a place to put it? 'Cause it's quite useful. And then I've got various bits of crap that we'll put in that.
Oh, is that the plastic bit?
And what I want to do is rake all this up, going out and putting in their wood. And have you noticed our beds look different, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know. Why?
well-
Are these new?
Yes, that's right. Because if you look at that one, that shows you the problem we've had.
Oh yeah.
So basically, all wood that you use for these kind of things, it's gone through a thing called tannalization.
Yeah.
And in the past, that was more toxic than it is now. But unfortunately, because it's now less toxic, it doesn't last as long.
Right.
So we put those beds in maybe 5, 6 years, 7 years ago, and you'd hope normally that they'd last for maybe 10, 15 years, but these were falling to bits after 4, and they've all been jury rigged and held up and stuff. But
Yeah.
this stuff, it's the end product of plastic recycling. So in practice,
So they're never going to rot then, are they?
it shouldn't.
No.
It shouldn't have a lot of plasticizers in it.
No.
If you brace it well, it shouldn't bow.
No.
But if it does, we can put another support in it. But the concept is that these should last us maybe 20 years plus, and at the end of that period it can be either turned back into raw petrochemicals or melted and remade.
Yeah.
So we're hopeful it's okay ecologically. The old system, people would say, oh, but you don't want to use plastic, it's bad, and then they'd line them with plastic and say that would improve it, and we could never work out how it did, because if you line it with plastic, it always shreds when you put soil in,
Yeah.
and then you end up with moisture held against the wood.
Well, I imagine a few years ago people were not recycling or knew
Possibly,
as much about recycling plastics into sort of forms like this.
I don't know, I think
Maybe.
they maybe did, but I think maybe the system wasn't there, because I had a
Right.
friend who was doing recycling plastic 25, 30 years ago, but I think partly initially they had the wood wasn't stable enough, and you may have seen these plastic benches where
Okay.
you had to sit very close to the person in the middle.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the system that we've used for these, in theory there's no waste in it, because anything that you create whilst you're doing it goes back to the place,
Yeah.
and they put all their waste back in, and the plasticizers shouldn't be there. So the plasticizers are bye Olivia, the plasticizers are the issue, because the plasticizer end members are similar to hormones,
Right.
and so especially if you're a bloke, they're not
Yeah.
particularly good for you, because they mimic female hormone end members.
Right.
So
Learning a lot today, aren't we?
this is the problem. I'm an environmentalist before I was a gardener, and I know somebody
Right.
who did a lot of work on this in
Yeah.
Rainham Marshes actually, and she found that in Rainham Marshes a lot of things were intersex, just because there'd been so many things come down that mimicked hormones. But it's something that we do have to be aware of.
Yeah.
And to me, having plastic beds that are pretty good and impervious to really having a lot of damage, because if you rub the soil along them, they don't seem to release a lot of particles, compared with having plastic bags over wood, I think we might have a better solution.
Yeah.
And then obviously the embodied energy of something, in terms of how much energy it takes to produce
Yeah.
and make it, if you've got wood and you say it's more eco because it uses less energy,
Yeah.
but you've had to do it 3 times in the time we'd have one of these,
Yeah.
I feel like this might be a better eco solution. But obviously you make assumptions when you plug it all into a ready reckoner.
I suppose the
and,
thing with plastic bags over wood as well, you obviously put drainage holes in, but at certain occasions it might not be enough, so it might retain. There might be too much water retained.
possibly, although
Possibly.
I think a lot of that's the underneath bit, which wouldn't
right.
have been lined.
Okay.
With raised beds, quite often your issue is actually they drain too much. And
right.
it's an interesting balance for us,
Yeah.
because we tend to have these high raised beds because people can't bend as easily, so they're very comfortable for people to use.
Yeah.
And you can also use them sat on a chair and leaning side saddle, but they warm up faster in the spring, so they'll be ready to plant much quicker than something straight into the soil. And you can angle the soil in them to hit the peak of the sun a little bit. You know, there's a lot of
Yeah.
good tricks you can do, but they do drain faster. So it's an interesting mix. I mean, you're certainly right, you can end up with water where you don't want it, and a lot of sweating under the plastic,
Yeah.
which is the thing I think maybe not good for the sides
Yeah.
of the beds.
How interesting is that? More than just growing things down here at the Windmill Gardens in Bobber's Mill in Nottingham.
But I was proud that I did it at all. You know, when you do something, I look, well, I've turned off around.
Oh, Dave, can I borrow your muscle?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then you don't get the actual amount of.
Tracy, it's a Monday, and you've got quite a few people down here for a Monday.
We do. So we're here 10 to 1 on Monday, and it's been nice actually. People are really enjoying the weather and we're getting good numbers. We've got Thursday sessions as well. Thursday in the morning it's general gardening like it is today on
Yeah.
a Monday, but on a Thursday afternoon we've got something a bit exciting now. So we have lunch happening every week, and there'll be a whole load of lovely things, often using stuff that we've got out of the garden.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday afternoon it's now a woodwork and mending session led by Ben from Guidance and Growth, so that's going to be really
Okay.
good.
And what are the hours on?
On Thursday it's 10 till 4.
Yeah.
We're eating probably about 12:30, and then the gardening will finish roughly, but people can still keep doing it
Yeah.
if they're feeling confident.
Yeah.
But then there'll be the mending afterwards going on till 4 o'clock. And we really would love anybody who feels like having a go to come. There will be a chance for people to make things to take home, although we've obviously got quite a lot of things we want to get fixed.
Yeah. And where are you?
Yeah, they were lovely.
We are at the What Three Words location, Table Feeds
Beery.
Tools.
Yeah.
We are
I like
on,
using those.
yeah, that's wonderful. We're on the allotment site south of Bobber's Mill Bridge, off the end of Ascot Road, but you do have to come around the corner and not go to the first gates, you see, because that's a slightly different place than us.
Yeah.
And you'll see our lovely windmill with sails made out of trowels logo on the gate. And if you're keen on coming, you could also contact our Facebook page. Just make sure that you look up Windmill Community Gardens Nottingham,
Yeah.
and leave a message, or you could text 0781 68 99978.
That was a short visit, brief but informative. As always, do like, share and subscribe. Tell your friends about it, and I'll speak to you very, very soon. I'm off down the calf now, I think. Pop into the mill calf for a bit of lunch.